Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to you. Nice to meet you.
Shabbat Shalom. We're going to begin our service this afternoon, during which Sarah becomes Bat Mitzvah, on page 31, but that's following an opening song that is entitled BT, My Daughter, and Canterline wants to say something about the song.
Well, Sarah, this song is a beautiful song. It's called BT, it means my daughter, and has special significance to me because you're like a daughter, and I sang it at your cousin's baby naming. She doesn't remember that, but I'm going to sing this song on behalf of your parents, who are the two nicest people in the world.
We can't sing.
But they can't sing. That's correct. Actually, Rochelle sings nicely.
You'll never hear it.
Let me read the words to you, and this really typifies what your parents feel about you. My daughter, because you are the soul between us. My daughter, because you are peace and tranquility. My daughter, because you are the spirit of our home. You will remain within our hearts forever. Come, my child, let us learn the Torah of our people. Come, my child, let us meet the world. Come, my child, throughout our lives, let us walk in paths of pleasantness. We have loved you, our daughter, for you have brought us blessing. With tender hands we bless you in return. Knowing your love for your parents, knowing you are the beloved of God, we give our love to you, and with it, the blessing of our hearts.
Sarah, this talit has great significance because we brought it back from the Holy Land on our trip we shared last summer. This talit was selected by you in a store in the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem, where our people have dwelled for over 3,000 years. It comes with great love from your aunt and uncle and cousins Michael and Jenna. You were a delight to have on that trip, and you were everyone's favorite. Your sense of humor, good nature, and sweetness are truly a blessing.
You have two names, Sarah. Your first name, Sarah, is for your maternal grandmother. Sarah was the first Jewish matriarch. When she and Abraham received the covenant, the Hebrew letter He was inserted in her name, standing for God's name, and he became a part of her. You too, Sarah, walk with God. Your second name, Ruth, for your paternal grandmother, is a great name to our people. Ruth was a convert to Judaism, and so revered was she and blessed by God that her offspring was none other than King David, from which the household of the Messiah is reported to come. You, like her, exhibit loyalty, love, and respect. May this talit envelop you with love and protection. May these fringes, these tzitzit, be a reminder to do God's commandments and make a contribution to the world.
Blessed is God, ruler of the universe, for giving us life, for sustaining us, and for enabling us to reach this great day.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman haseh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'hitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen.
God, help me on this occasion of my bat mitzvah. Help me to make meaningful the covenant you now establish with me. Sustain me with the sense of holiness. Inspire me in a desire to be special. I do not ask that you make my life easy, resolve my problems, map out the directions of my life. I ask only that you strengthen within me the desire to mold and shape my life in accordance with your will. Give me, I pray, the feeling that you are with me in this hour of my bat mitzvah. I invoke your blessing upon my parents and friends and all who have loved and cared for me and have brought me to this time of gladness. Give them joy and fulfillment and growth and my achievement. You who turn the hearts of children to their parents and the hearts of parents to their children.
Continue on page 34.
Heavenly God, we have come together to pray as a congregation, yet each of us is strangely solitary in your presence.
Each of us comes before you with special hopes and dreams. Each of us has personal worries.
Each of us has a prayer no one else can utter. Each of us brings praise no one else can offer. Each of us has a secret joy no one else can share. Each of us has regrets which others cannot know, and so we pray.
If we are weary, give us strength. If we are discouraged, give us hope.
If we have forgotten how to pray, remind us. If we have been careless of time, forgive us.
If our hearts have been chilled with indifference, warm them with your mercy, and inspire us with a glowing spirit of your holy Shabbat.
יתקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה, ילמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וביומכון, וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, וימרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם, ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן ויעלמה, וימרו אמן.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'Imateinu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Lev, Elohei Rachel, El Hagadol Hagibor ve'Onara, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, Ve'koneh Hakol, Ve'zocher Hastei Yavot v'Imachot, U'meid Giula Livnei V'nehem, Leman Shemo ve'Achava, Melech Ozer, U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo.
Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah.
Amen.
Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mehayeh HaKol Rav leHoshia.
Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim, U'Matzir Asurim, U'Mekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Mi Chamocha Ba'al Gevurot, U'Mido Melach, Melech Meimit U'Mechayed, U'Matzmiach Yeshua.
V'ne'eman atah lechayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo.
Mechayeh HaKol.
Amen.
There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
There is holiness when we promote family harmony.
There is holiness when we forget what divides us and remembers what unites us.
There is holiness when we are kind to someone who cannot possibly be of service to us.
There is holiness when we are willing to be laughed at for what we believe in.
There is holiness when we love truly, honestly, and unselfishly.
There is holiness when we share our bread, our ideas, our enthusiasm.
There is holiness when we gather to pray to Adonai, who gave us the power to pray.
Holy, holy, holy is Adonai, our God. All of life can be fulfilled with God's glory.
Nekadesh, Nekadesh et Shimcha ba'olam, Keshem shemakdishim oto, Bishmei marom, Kakatuv al yad neviecha, Vekarazel ze ve'yamar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech ol haaretz kevodo. Adir adirenu Adonai Adonenu, Madir shimcha bechol haaretz. Baruch kevod Adonai mimekomo, Echad hu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu, Vehu Yashmienu, Berachamav Leinei Kol Chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Imloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Etzion, ledor vador. Hallelujah. Ledor vador nagigo lecha, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושיבחך אלוהינו, מפינו לימוש לעולם ועד, כמלך גדול וקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
To celebrate Shabbat is to share in holiness.
The presence of eternity, a moment of majesty, the radiance of joy, enhancement of the soul.
To celebrate Shabbat is to realize freedom.
God reminds us that we are all royalty, that all mortals are equal children of God.
To celebrate Shabbat is to surpass limitations. To celebrate Shabbat is to sing its melody. celebrate Shabbat is to sense God's presence.
שמך אחד, ומקיימך ישראל, גוי אחד בארץ, תפארת גדולה, ועטרת ישועה, יומך קדושה, לעמך נתת, אברהם יגל, יצחק ירנן, יעקב ובניו ינוחו בו, מנוחת אהבה ונדבה, מנוחת אמת ואמונה, מנוחת שלום ושלווה, וישקט בבטח, מנוחה שלמה, שאתה רוצה בה, יכירו בניך וידעו, כי מאיתך היא מנוחתם, ועל מנוחתם יקדישו את שמך, ועל מנוחתם יקדישו את שמך. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו רצי, במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך, ותן חלקנו בתורתך, שבנו מטובך, ושמחנו בישועתך, ותאר 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 ליבנו לעובדך באמת, ותאר ליבנו לעובדך באמת. והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו בעבר רצון שבת קודשך, בנוחו בו ישראל מקדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
There are words and there are prayers, but there is not yet justice and there's not yet peace.
A rabbi said, "He who makes peace in his house is as though he has brought peace to all Israel, indeed even to all the world."
If peace is more than a distant vision mocking us by its remoteness, we must do the work of peace ourselves. If peace is to be brought to the world, we must bring peace to our families and our communities.
The psalmist said, "Seek peace and pursue it."
But don't be content to make peace only in your own household. Go forth and work for peace whenever men and women are struggling in its cause.
May God give our people strength that we may work for peace.
May God, who has made peace among the stars in heaven, enable us to make peace among the peoples on earth.
Shalom.
May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come. And may you trust in generations past and yet to be.
May your heart be filled with intuition, and your words be filled with insight. May your song of praise ever be upon your tongue, and your vision be on a straight path before you.
May your eyes shine with the light of holy words, and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom, and your fulfillment be in righteousness.
A Jewish home opens its heart, a child is born, and its link to the generation is proclaimed.
Today, our child, nearly grown, is called to read from the Torah and is welcomed into the congregation. May this moment be blessed.
We'd like to ask Sarah's grandparents, Henry and Anita Weiss, to join us on the bima. And to open the ark, we call on Sarah's grandparents, William and Mary Handy. Please rise.
ויבן אהרון ויאמר משה קומה אדוני ויחוצו אויביך וינוסו משנאיך מפניך כי מציון תצא תורה כי מציון תצא תורה ולבור אדוני בירושלים ברוך שנתן תורה תורה ברוך שנתן תורה תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
Sarah, the Torah that we are about to pass through the generations in your family, present to you, really becomes yours. While this scroll is not yours to take with you, its teaching is. That is everything contained in Torah, the wisdom of our tradition, everything that has been passed to you by those who have preceded you, really is a gift to you and your inheritance. The hope of this moment is that you will come to understand what those before you have understood, and that is that this is a treasure. That from the moment that the Jewish people received Torah at Sinai to this moment, each generation has found it a treasure, each generation has made it its own, and each individual is given the opportunity to do that as well. And that is what this moment is about. And so we pass the Torah to you from grandparents to parents with the hope that in making it your own, one day you will be blessed with the opportunity of teaching it to the next generation, of making certain of the continuity of Torah and of Jewish life.
Rogmav, Kadosh hu, Romemu
Just a moment ago, when we passed the Torah to Sarah and suggested that this was a treasure that was hers, a gift that was hers, raises a question, really. What is this gift? What is this treasure? And most importantly, what does it mean that it's hers? Why do we become bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah? Why do we want children to gain knowledge of Torah and of a tradition? There is a hint of an answer at the very beginning of the Torah portion that Sarah is going to be chanting today. The verse begins as follows. Listen to it carefully, because the rabbis find something in it that says that it demands interpretation. The portion starts with the words, Im b'chukotai telechu, if you walk in my laws, ve'et mitzvotai tishmeru, and if you observe, you watch over my commandments, ve'asitem otam, and you do them, then there are going to be a number of results to that behavior, and we'll read that in a few moments. The rabbis look at these words, and they see a certain amount of repetition in them. That is, why couldn't the text simply say, if you live by my commandments? Why does it have to say, if you walk by my statutes, and if you observe my commandments, and if you do them? Why this three different ways, essentially, of saying what seems to be exactly the same thing? That is, live by the Torah, live by these commandments, behave according to these laws. Why is there a need for that repetition? And the suggestion by the rabbis comes through an interpretation of a particular story that is found in the Talmud. It's a beautiful story, and I've seen it variously interpreted, but there is one particular interpretation that I love best. And we'll somehow bring this story back to the Torah portion, I hope, in a moment. The legend tells us that when a child is in his or her mother's womb, during this period of 9 months, that child is taught all of Torah. What we spend a lifetime attempting to do, this midrash tells us, takes place within a 9-month period as a baby is growing and getting ready to be born. During that period, the story tells us a child learns not only all of Torah, but learns the interpretations of Torah, learns the commentaries, so that when a child is ready to be born, all of the knowledge that we spend a lifetime trying to attain, and never attain it successfully, never attain it fully, that infant has learned. And then, the legend goes on, a child exits the mother's womb. This is a sad ending to the story. And an angel kind of slaps the child on the mouth, and the knowledge is gone. All right? In fact, there is one commentary that says the little indentation we have on the upper lip is where the angel got us to make that knowledge go away. Now, the rabbis look at that story, and they say, how can this be? Why is it? What lesson are we attempting to teach, suggesting that we have all of this knowledge before we're born, and then an angel makes it all go away? Why make it go away? So that we have to now struggle for a lifetime to get it all back, to be reminded of it. And the interpretation is an interesting one and relevant to Sarah becoming bat mitzvah. It goes as follows. In the womb, there's nothing you can do with that knowledge. That is, that knowledge gained during that gestation period of 6 months is a knowledge that can't lead to action. It is a knowledge that could not lead to behavior. To learn all of Torah and not to be able to do any of the mitzvot, not to be able to follow Torah, it may be wonderful to have knowledge for its own sake, But the view of knowledge in Jewish life and Jewish tradition is that you gain knowledge not only for the pleasure that it gives you, not only for the fulfillment that you gain knowledge in order to take that knowledge and put it into action. The lesson, the rabbis tell us, that we're being taught by that little slap on the mouth when we were born, making all of that knowledge go away, is a lesson about what knowledge and learning is about. Now you're born. In the womb, you couldn't live it. Now you're born into a world in which that knowledge can be put to use, in which, in fact, it has to be put to use. If Torah is studied only for the enjoyment, and there's something to be said for the enjoyment of study, but if it's purely for that, and if it isn't translated into behavior, if it isn't translated into action, the rabbis actually say, then that's the kind of knowledge, if you had it in the womb, you may as well not have been born. It's a very strong statement that they make. You may as well not have been born with that knowledge if you're not going to do anything with it. If it's not going to be translated into behavior, if the ethical and moral mitzvot of the Torah are not going to find life in a human being, if they're not going to live to enhance the kinds of relationships that human beings enjoy in the world, then you may as well have been slapped on the mouth and lost all of the knowledge of Torah that you have. That brings us back to the beginning verse of Sarah's Torah portion, B'chukotai. Why are we told 3 times essentially the same thing? To make certain that we understand that the commandments that follow are not purely for the sake of study, they are for the sake of doing. Im b'chukotai telechu. If you walk by my commandments. Doesn't say if you study them, if you learn them, if you interpret them deeply, if you walk by them. That is, if you walk a path of life that is lived according to those commandments. Ve'im mitzvotai tishmeru, and if you observe my mitzvot. Va'asitem otam, and you do them. That the text is underscoring, it's saying it 3 times in case we miss it the first time. It's underscoring the importance of walking all of this. It's underscoring the importance of taking the knowledge and making it a part of who we are, living it. This is called Torat Chaim. It is called the Torah of life for that reason. It's not a Torah of knowledge for the purpose of an academic pursuit. It's a Torat Chaim. It's a Torah for life. What holds the scrolls is an Eitz Chaim. This is called an Eitz Chaim, a tree of life. Not only for enjoyment, but absolutely for living on a daily basis. So that in the moment when Sarah is called to the Torah, if she ever has had a question in her 13 years of why am I doing this? Why am I learning this? Why am I studying so hard? When there are other things that I could be doing with my time, it's not to perform for us today. Its purpose is for her to take from this day, to internalize it, to make it a part, and it has become a part of who she is, and to bring this into the world. For our first Aliyah, we call on friends of Sarah and her family, Christina Fryer, Stuart Ackerman, Preston, and Bobby Robbins.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamborah. Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamborah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Amen. Im b'chukotai telechu v'et mitzvotai tishmeru v'asitem otam. If you walk by my statutes, and you observe my commandments, and you do them, V'natati gishmeichem be'itam, then I shall bring forth rains in their seasons. V'natna ha'aretz yivula, and the earth shall give forth its produce. Ve'etz hasadeh yitain piryo, and the tree of the field will bring forth its fruit. V'hisig lachem daish et batzir, uvatzir yasig et zara, and your threshing will overtake vintage, vintage will overtake planting, sowing. V'achaltem lachem lesova, and you shall eat your bread to complete satisfaction. V'ishtavtem levetach ba'artzechem, and you shall dwell with security in your land. V'natati shalom ba'aretz, and I shall bring peace to the land. Ushchavtem ve'ein macharid, and you shall lie down, and you shall never tremble, you shall never be afraid. V'hishbati chaya ra'amin ha'aretz, and I shall cause all of the beasts of harm, of evil, to cease from the earth. V'cherev lo ta'avor ba'artzechem, and the sword shall not pass through your land. Urdaftem et oivechem v'naflu lifnechem lacharev, and you shall pursue after your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. V'radfu mikem chamisha me'ah, u'me'ah mikem revava yirdofu. And 5 of you shall have the power to pursue 100, and 100 shall have the power to pursue 10,000. V'naflu oivechem lifnechem lacharev, your enemies shall fall before you to the sword. Ufaniti alechem v'hifreiti etchem v'hirbeti etchem, and I shall be present for you, and I shall make you fruitful, and I shall multiply you. V'hakimoti et briti itchem, and I shall establish my covenant with you.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayei olam notah b'tolheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, notein haTorah. Amen.
For our second aliyah, we call on Sarah's grandparents, Henry and Anita Weiss.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu
Eloheinu melech
haolam,
asher b'har banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, notan haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vitality v'tochechem v'chayiti lachem v'elohim v'atam tiuli la'am ani Adonai Elohim asher tzeitichem be'eretz Mitzrayim michlot lachem avadim v'eshbor v'atad Elohim v'alecha etchem komimiyud v'im lo tim asu li v'lo ta'asu et kol mitzvotai ha'eleh.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayei olam nata b'einu. Baruch atah Adonai, notan haTorah.
For our third aliyah, we call on Sarah's aunts and uncles, Nate and Donna Lamb, Jeff and Rita Weiss. And Jenna and Michael.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch L'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach
Atu, Behemet Mishpati, Tigon Ashtechem, Evioti, Asot et Komitzvotai, Vachrechem, et Priti, Af Ani, et Ezot Lachem, Behiv Karati, Alachem, Behelan, et Hashachef, et Beit Hakadahat, Michlot Einaim, Vivot Nafesh, Bezoretem, Larik, Zorachem, Beachlu, Oivechem, Benachem, Bachem, Benachem, Lefamai Oivechem, Veradu, Bachem, Sonechem, Benastem, Venrodefetchem.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam natan betocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
For our fourth Aliyah, we call on Bill and Rochelle Handy, parents of the Bat Mitzvah.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'havanu mikol ha'olim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'im ad ele lo tishmeu li, ve'asavti le'asra etchem, sheva al chatotechem, v'shavarti et hioneschem, v'natati et shnehem kabarzel, ve'et artechem kanhusha, ve'tam lari kochachem, ve'lo titen artechem et yevula, ve'et ha'aretz lo yiten hiryah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan betocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
noten haTorah.
Amen. Tamod, 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 הבחורה בת מצווה, שררות אבים ורחל, מאפתין לקבל אור התורה.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach.
ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו.
noten haTorah.
אמן.
V'im tofu imi keri v'lo tovu lishma li, v'yasavti alachem makah sheva kechatotechem, v'yishlati v'chem et hayad hasadeh v'shikladchem, v'hikrita et bechemtechem, v'himita etchem, v'nashamu darchechem. Ve'im ve'ele lo tivasru li, ve'halaktem imi keri, ve'halakti af ani imhem bekeri, ve'hiketi etchem gamani, sheva al chatotechem. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'hayei olam natan betocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו.
noten haTorah.
Amen. Please rise. מי שברך אבותינו ואברהם יצחק ויעקב שרה וקבל לאה הוא יברך את שר הרות, בביל ברחל, שגיל מצוות ויעלת לתורה, הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמריה בחייך ויכונן את ליבה להיות שמן עליה, דאגו בתורתו, ללכת ולמוש מרבותיו, וימצאכם בשכל טוב, בין אלוהים ואדם ונאמר. Amen.
May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless Sarah, who has come for an aliyah upon the age of mitzvot. May the Holy One guard her and sustain her, helping her to be wholehearted in her faith, studying God's Torah, walking in God's ways, and fulfilling God's mitzvot. May she find favor before God and all people, and let us say,
Amen.
Amen.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ליד משה. Please be seated.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ertzav divrechem hane'emurim v'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'imvi'ei ha'emet v'atzedek. Adonai, Uzi, Umazi, Umnusi, B'yom Tzara, Elecha, Koim Yavo, Me'af Se'aret, V'yomru, Asheker, Nachalu, Avotenu, Hevel, Hebamo'il, Hayaseh lo Adam, Elohim, V'hema, lo Elohim, Lachen, Hineni Modian, Bapam Hazot, Odiem et Yadi, Ve'kevrati, Ve'adu, Kishmi Adonai, Hatat Yehuda, Ketuvah, Ve'et Barzel, B'tziparin Shamir, Harusha, Alu, Achlibam, Ulkarnot, Mizbechotechem, Kiskor, V'nechem, Mizbechotam, Ve'asherechem, Al Yitzra'anan, Al Gevaot, Havachot, Harari, Basadeh, Helha Kol Otrotecha, Lavam Aten, Bamotecha, Bechatat, Bechol Gevulecha. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol alamim, tzaddik b'chol hadarot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, ha'medaber u'mekayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu, ne'emanim devarecha, v'devar echad mifarecha, achor lo yoshuv rekam, ki al melech ne'eman v'eman atah. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo.
El HaNe'eman b'chol devarav.
Amen.
Rachem al Tzion ki hi beit hayinu, v'lalu v'nefesh toshia b'mhera v'yameinu. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo.
Amei Tzion b'fanecha.
Amen.
Samcheinu Adonai Eloheinu, Eliyahu Hanavi avdecha, uv'malchut beit avi meshichecha. V'imhera yavo ve'yagel libenu, al kiso lo yishev zar, shelo yichlu od acherim et kavado. Ki v'shem kol shehanish b'halo, shelo yichfenero le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo.
Magen David.
Amen.
Al HaTorah, ve'al Avodah, ve'al HaNevi'im, ve'al Yom HaShabbat hazeh, shenatah lanu Adonai Eloheinu, likdusha v'limnucha, likvod u'tifaret. Al HaKol, Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lah, ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך לפי כל התמיד, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Amen.
To open the ark, we call on Beto Matz. Please rise.
יעלו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב בשמו לבדו. עולו על ארץ ושמיים, וירם קרן בימו, תהילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל לך קרובו. הללויה, הללויה.
We recall the loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. The memories of all of them are with us. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we praise God and pray for the coming of God's kingdom. We join in Kaddish on page 52.
Gadol Yitgadash Shmei Rabbah, Lamad Yivrach Yirutei, Yamlich Malchutei, Chayechon V'yom Echon, Chayei Devol Beit Yisrael, Hagala V'Zman Kari V'Imru Amen, Yehei Shmei Rabbah, Borach L'olam L'nei Omayim, Yitbarach V'Yishtabach V'Yitpa'ar V'Yitoman V'Yitnaseh, V'Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalal Shmei Kedusha Urichu, Leila Mikol Birchata V'Shirata, Tushvachata V'Nechemata, Aniran Ve'alma V'Imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbanim Shmaya, V'Chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Kromah, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. Be seated.
What would happen to me if I didn't study for my bar mitzvah? What would happen if I brought a ham and cheese sandwich to school and no one saw me eat it? Would God punish me? Maybe after I ate the ham and cheese sandwich, everything else would then be tasteless. If I did not study for my bat mitzvah, would I forget how to read Hebrew? No, this would not happen. There would probably be no punishments. In my parsha, Behukotai, there were terrible punishments for these and other types of sins. God told Moses to tell the Israelites to obey the commandments and laws God has given. If they do not obey them, if they do obey them, then they will be rewarded and blessed with good crops, and there will be peace. If the Israelites do not obey the laws and commandments, then there will be famine, bad crops, and severe punishments. God always gave you another chance to do the right thing. But if you were neglectful, then the punishment would get even worse than it was before. One punishment that interested me, of many of them, was that since there was famine, everyone was hungry. The parents got so hungry that they even ate their sons and daughters. I wondered if the children were obedient to God's commandments and obeyed Shabbat and other laws, would the children get to eat their parents? I'm sure they did not get to, because the Ten Commandments states that you must respect your parents, and wouldn't that be breaking the 10 Commandments? So then you wouldn't be the perfect child after all. Why did God have to threaten us with so many punishments? Maybe because God wanted to have an ideal society. This would be a marvelous thing. In an ideal society, there would be no need for rules, laws, and commandments. Why can't we have an ideal society? Maybe it's because most of us aren't ideal. For instance, I was going on a field trip to clean the beach. This is one of God's commandments, to care for the environment. Did I really want to go? No. It was hot and hard work, and not all of my friends were going. I wasn't that interested in performing one of God's commandments. This is why God gave rewards and threats of punishments, to help us to have an ideal society. By the way, I did end up cleaning the beach, and I felt very good at the end, and I didn't get grounded for not going. God needed to have rewards and punishments to make the world work. He needed to have more punishments than rewards because fear makes a person do what they need to do more than rewards. If someone was working in a factory and the boss said, "Please do your job, we're counting on you to help the company," and the next thing the boss said was, "If you don't do it correctly, you will be fired," which order from the boss will most likely be heeded the most? God needs to give punishments that will threaten the people rather than reward the people, because humans are motivated mostly by fear. I was influenced by this parsha because it relates to my life. I know that when my parents say, if I get a good grade, I'll be rewarded, but if I get a bad grade, then I will be punished. I don't want to be punished, and this makes me work harder. In our modern society, we continue to be most affected by the punishments compared to the rewards that might occur from our behaviors. In my life, I have been more than rewarded. I have been blessed with the best family anyone could ask for. I have wonderful parents that can make this day possible for me, my friends, and my family to enjoy. Mom, thank you so much for making this possible. You encouraged me to do my mentoring and even helped me with it, even though you did not have a bat mitzvah yourself. Dad, you were always the one to let me out the door to school with a positive attitude, and you always remind me to take it one step at a time. Alex, you are my right-hand man, and I love you very much. I couldn't ask for a better brother. I have grandparents from Hollywood to Texas. Grandma and Grandpa Weiss, I love you very much, and thank you for inspiring me to do better all the time. Grandma and Grandpa Handy, my love for you is so strong, and that is what makes our time together so special. Going to Texas is always so much fun because I love to cook, and going to the lake is a blast, even though I wished you lived closer. My Aunt Susan, Uncle George, Aunt Marie, Uncle John, and Cousin Cecilia are the best group of people to hang out with when I go to Texas. I never get bored. Uncle Jeff, Aunt Rita, and cousins Erica and Jordan are so much fun to be with. Uncle Nate, Auntie Donna, and cousins Michael and Jenna are the best traveling companions. I mean, how much more can you ask for than the best tour guides, and did I forget to say the funniest too? I want to thank you for being my second parents and not making me feel homesick when we traveled in Israel and England. The bond between my family, ranging from California to Texas, makes me feel whole. Thank you for being there for me. My friends, we have shared so many experiences that make me who I am. From boys to fashion, from grades to parties, my friends are always there for me. Thank you, Karen Cates. Even though Karen Cates was not able to be here at my bat mitzvah, I want you all to know how important she was in helping me through my bat mitzvah studies, and Rabbi August for guiding me in writing the speech. I would also like to thank Uncle Canner Lamb and Rabbi Hirscher for presiding over my bat mitzvah services. Through the process of studying my Torah portion, I learned that rewards and punishments were the same in biblical times as they are today, just with different standards. By continuing my Judaic studies in school, my knowledge and growth will continue. Thank you to each and every one of you who came today to share with me in one of the most important days of my life. Shabbat Shalom.
Sarah, there were a lot of things you said that were very important. One of the things that you said particularly caught my attention. You asked, why can't we have an ideal society? And you answered your own question by saying something like, because we're not ideal. An ideal society isn't something that we just wish for. It's something that we make happen. And what you understood in that very simple question and simple response, that we're not ideal, is that ultimately creating an ideal society begins with human beings creating themselves to be closer to the ideal that the Torah would have us be. I say that to you because you've grown up in a family that definitely understands one very, very important ideal, and that is the ideal of creating an environment and a home that is loving and giving and nurturing. You are blessed with parents who have given you that. When we met on Thursday for the last opportunity to go through the entire service before this day, I asked your parents to remind me how long it's been since I stood with them under the chuppah and they made commitments of love to each other. And they told me it's not quite 18 years. And I look at their not quite 18 years and I look at you and recognize that the commitments that they made to each other at that time have borne wonderful fruit in the family that they've created, in you and in your brother Alex, that they've taken what they have, they've taken their goodness, and they've taken the blessing of Sarah, and they've combined the gift that you are to them with the gifts that they're capable of giving, and have given you many, many blessings that help bring you to this day, but more than that help make you who you are. The society is not ideal because we're not ideal. You're absolutely right. And what we're given, if we're lucky, if we're blessed, if we're fortunate, is a family to help us create a life that is going to be as closest to the ideal as it can be. I know you appreciate the gifts you've been given, the blessings of love and family that you've been given. The hope now, the prayer of this moment is that you take all of those blessings, you take that love and you take that goodness that's in them, that's in you, that's part of your family, and you combine that with Torah. Combine it with your Torah portion, in fact, and take it out into the world to create blessings there. That's our hope for you and our prayer for you, and it comes with our congratulations to you on the work that you've done. And it comes with a few gifts that will be reminders of the day and the hopes that the day carries. This certificate, which says that on Shabbat B'chukotai, you became bat mitzvah and took on the responsibilities of living a Jewish life. Candlesticks. These could be just simple little candlesticks, but they're going to find their way to the Shabbat table and add hopefully an additional dimension of holiness to your life. And lastly, a certificate. Did you get to plant a tree when you were in Israel? All right. So you've got one already, now you have two. This tree has been planted for you by the Jewish National Fund. It expresses a commitment to the land that you've now seen and experienced, and you're given the opportunity of through your own tzedakah, planting more. Mazel tov. Mom and Dad.
We have something to say to you, Sarah. And 18 years ago, or almost 18 years ago, when Rabbi Hersher and Cantor Lamb married us, who would have ever thought that these two children would come from that union? What a great blessing. Sarah Ruth, what an accomplishment you've achieved today. Your Judaic education started here at Stephen S. Weiss Temple in nursery school 10 years ago. Look how all your hard work has paid off. Today, you are the bat mitzvah girl. Your mother and I are very proud of your accomplishments. This day is indeed a mitzvah, but it's your approach to everyday life that most impresses us. Your willingness to adopt and practice God's spiritual principles to overcome problems and occasional setbacks astonishes us. People often don't look to the power of God until much later in their lives. You yourself can see that this power is and has been a great benefit in your life. We both urge you to continue consulting God for direction in your life into the future. You have a giving nature, and you are indeed a true giver. We notice that you are always looking outward for opportunities to help other people. You're always ready to help young children with their schoolwork or their art projects. You are always compassionate to people who are in need. And have you ever noticed how people flock to you? It's because other people can sense your generous nature. You are truly a mensch. You have discovered and put into your life one of God's principles. The principle is that this has always been a giving world, not a taking or getting world. You have found that through selfless giving, that your own needs are adequately met and supplied by God Himself. This is a truth that no one can ever take away from you. You own this principle. You can rely on the fact that your needs will always be met by first looking outward to see that other people's needs are attended to.
My turn. Sarah Ruth, as is the custom in Judaism, we named you in memory of our relatives who have gone before us. Your names come from two of your great-grandmothers who passed away before you were born. The name Sarah is for my grandmother, Sarah Bluefield, who was a witty poet, a giver, and could always make you laugh. The name Ruth was for Dad's grandmother, Ruth Handy. She was a devoted grandmother, mother, and wife, and a great cook. Her generosity was endless. You have all of these wonderful traits of these powerful great ladies. I am sure they would be proud to have you carry on their names. In fact, I often think you are protected by them. This milestone today recognizes the bedrock of your Jewish education. You now have a foundation that will hold you well as you start in adulthood and begin on your trail of destiny. Once again, let Dad and I say how proud we are of you, that you have accomplished in your life that has led you to this great day. Sarah, I love you very much, and I could have not hoped for a better daughter.
Sarah Ruth, I too love you with all my heart, and am overflowing with pride. to call you my daughter. Congratulations, Mazel Tov.
Please rise.
We'd like to invite a number of people to come up to the bima and help lead us in Havdalah. Jerry and Linda Shane, John Handy and Marie Caesar, and George and Susan Handy.
We give thanks for the Sabbath day that is now ending. We are grateful for its many blessings, for peace and joy, rest for the body, and refreshment for the soul. May something of its meaning and message remain with us as we enter the new week, lifting all that we do to a higher plane of holiness.
It is sometimes strange to share the sweetness of wine when so much of our life is caught up in moments not so sweet. And yet as we share the wine, we affirm that a sweetness is possible, and that in reaching out for one another, we can discover common bonds that make a future possible.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
A legend of our tradition tells us that on Shabbat, each Jew is granted an extra soul, a soul to perceive more clearly that which is dimmed during the other days of our week. And at that moment when Shabbat takes her leave, our extra soul flees as well. And so the legend tells us that we inhale the sweetness of fragrant spices to refresh our own soul, that we might better face the week that is to be.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim.
Life itself. Like life, it is kindled, it burns, it glows. It gives off beauty and rays of warmth. And then before the winds of time, it flickers and is no more. And as the many wicks of this Havdalah light blend into one soaring flame, so may we recall that like this candle, we are one, that we are fragile, that we each possess the power and warmth and deep humanity. The blessing of this life is a blessing for our lives and our single life.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei ha'esh.
This light of Havdalah must now go out, but it can live in each of us. We can carry its warmth out of this special Shabbat into the more ordinary days that come. Like a candle, we can bring our special warmth to others.
May this be the nature of the week to come. May it be the direction we travel toward our next Shabbat. Together we bless the moments we have shared and the moments that still await us.
Amabdil ben Kodesh lechol achatoteinu yimechol Zareinu v'chaspeinu yarbe kachol v'kochavim balayla Shavua tov, 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 Shavua tov.
Shavua Tov, a good week. Please join us outside for Kiddush. Thank you very much.
Everybody's going to stay up. Well, actually, no.
Can I have your attention? Why don't you come down here?
Never mind.
Alex Candy? Alex? Please come here.
Okay, we can have your attention. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam amo yitzilechem min haaretz. Come down and join us, Mr. Collins.